All right, stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. This is Monday, February 17th. If you have any questions or business with us, come up here, please. Give us your name and address. We'll take all that under number 10, public comment, as per usual. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Cedar.
Here.
Councilmember Gottler.
Here.
Councilmember Kufa.
Here.
Councilmember Laporte.
Here.
Councilmember Paul.
Present.
Councilmember Volz.
Here.
Councilmember Westrick. Here. All present.
Thank you. And we'll go to consent agenda. City Council minutes of February 3rd, 2025. Regular meeting recommendation approved.
Make a motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have no ordinances and resolutions tonight. We'll go to number 6. Board's Administration, Mr. Bishop.
I just have something short tonight. I just know with the weather out there and as cold as it is, Councilman Kufa called me this afternoon. He talked about bus shelters on M29. I had reached out to Blue Water Area Transit. We do have some riders of the bus out there, and there's no shelter on M29. A year ago, they decommissioned 2 separate shelters, and so I sent an email to him and say, is there any plans on bringing one or both shelters back, or what that process may look like? It's obviously a clear and present issue right now. I don't know if we'll ever get this much snow ever again. This is like a 10-year storm for sure. However, it is a good question. If this persists, and this weather does persist, and we have temperatures the way we do. So I have called about that for our residents. I had an opportunity to speak with Vern Westrick, and he had said that he would like to schedule a time to honor our police officers for the work that they did with the fire, and they're scheduling an honorary event for those officers when everybody gets back in town. Chief Raker is not with us until the 25th. He's on vacation, but there'll be a coordination, and there will be a public recognition for their services and the action that they took during that fire. Okay, that's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Bishop?
I have a question for you. The waste management stuff has been on top of mind, seems like, throughout the city. Did we ever get confirmation that they will take everything that's set out on a weekly basis?
So we have contacted Waste Management, and I'm wanting confirmation from our representative that that is the case, and it will happen on every Friday, not just the one Friday of the month, and they have to call every other month, where I am requesting that they confirm that it will be every Friday. That is not something that I'm etching in stone until I have confirmation back from Waste Management, but that is the angle that we're taking right now. And just for clarification too, there was a couple mishaps on some pickups, some scheduled pickups for bulk items that they had left out on 8th Street and on Clinton Avenue. What had happened is because they did not pick up those pieces, we deployed DPW staff, 2 guys to clean that up, which generated ultimately 4 hours of overtime. I have sent that invoice to Waste Management, and they are going to be crediting for their time and hours on our next bill.
Right.
Anything else? Mr. Downey, you have anything tonight?
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Any city department?
No.
Authorities, boards, commissions, council reps? No unfinished business. Well, number 8, new business, approved city investment policy, Mr. Bishop.
What you have in front of you is the City of St. Clair investment policy to comply with the Act 20, a public act of 1943. We had a long-standing investment policy. I'd like to give credit to Treasurer Jessica Gilroy. She has brought this to my attention, and she had asked that we have an updated, revised investment policy. She took the initiative to find a great copy from another one who had just sound advice. And so she brought that back to the table. We had sent that to Attorney Downey to review and to look over. And what you have before you is an updated investment policy. I want to just talk about the highlights, because if I were on the council, I would ask, well, what's different about the old one to the new one? That'd be my first question. So I'm going to briefly go over, here are the main points on how this has changed, okay? The purpose, if everybody's looking at the policy, the purpose is staying the same. I'm only going to go over the highlighted ones. For example, in 2.1, the scope, you see things like 2.2.8 ARPA funds. Obviously, when this was drafted back decades and decades ago, ARPA was not a thing. It is now, and we do have custody of those funds. So we have added those things to the scope. The major difference there is it was just listed in paragraph form in the old one. Now the actual fund types are listed out, as you can see in highlighted 2.2, fund types. The objectives are essentially the same. It speaks to safety, diversification, liquidity, and return on investment of our investment funds. What is different about the updated policy is that they're broken out into more expanded definitions. So, for example, in the old one, under safety, it's just a two-sentence safety description. In the new one, it's safety, but then it's broken down to the different types of safety depending on risk. Credit risk, rate risk, concentration of credit risk, those types of things. But all in all, those things are remaining the same. It's just broken out in deeper definition. If you turn the page all the way to number 8, this is a functional difference of the policy. 8 is important. 8 is the safekeeping and custody of those investment funds. Before, in the old policy, custody was relinquished to our city accountant. With the update, if you'd see in 8, it shall be the responsibility of the city treasurer to determine which securities will be held by third-party custodian, which shall be conducted on delivery versus payment basis. Securities held in safekeeping by third-party custodian shall be evidenced by safekeeping receipt. That means the authority moves from the city accountant for the safekeeping and custody of the investments, and we're recommending that it moves to the treasurer. It makes perfect sense. Ms. Gilroy is the one who manages the investments for the city, so she should be in charge of safekeeping and custody. So I recommend that 8 is changed from the authority from the accountant to the treasurer. Additionally, number 15. Number 15 is a change too. Essentially, it's exactly what I just said. We're moving the authority from the accountant as the mandatory reporter to the city treasurer. In the new form, the city treasurer shall prepare an annual report to the governing body concerning the investment of the funds. This report shall be prepared in a manner by which the governing body may ascertain if investment activities during the reporting period have conformed of this investment policy. That was the responsibility of the city accountant. I am recommending that we move the authority from the city accountant to the city treasurer. Again, this is Mrs. Gilroy, and this is the world that she lives in, so she has the most up-to-date data, and she would be the one responsible for that reporting. I think that's an appropriate move.
This solidifies solid checks and balances as well, correct?
Absolutely. It actually speaks to better internal controls. In addition to this policy, which we did not have in the old policy, if you move to Appendix A, the portfolio diversification guidelines, before we did not have guidelines depending on what kind of investment instrument we were using. So if we're going to invest in U.S. Treasuries, well, what's the maximum security type? What's the issuer maximum? What's the maturity maximum? We didn't have these outlined before. Now, every security that we do invest in with the city not only has an insurer maximum, but it also has maturity maximum, meaning that it only can go that distance before we're actually going to pull funds. Okay, and then reevaluate at that time. We did not have this appendix and this guideline before. I credit Ms. Gilroy for pushing for these guidelines and have them installed. It really tightens up our controls here. Okay? Last but not least, this is more just functional than anything else. It's a glossary of terms, right? We throw around in the finance world, it's a completely different jargon, and so we've added in a glossary of terms. So if anybody's reading over this and they want to know exactly what that word means, they'll have a glossary to look back into. This is new to the policy. It's my recommendation that we move forward with adopting the new investment policy for the city of St. Clair.
So moved.
I have a question, if this is a good time for it. Just I'll support your resolution,
All
but
right, motion made, support. Any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
2.1.10, I think it's just a semantic thing, but it says established by the City of St. Clair Board of Trustees. Should that read as City Council?
Yeah.
So with the wording change,
Okay.
just on the front. I didn't see it appear anywhere else in the document, but we're not mentioned anywhere else in the document except for in the, where was it? It's 18.0. And there it mentioned it as approved by the council, and so I would assume that those terms should match.
They should. Good catch. I'm glad you read this.
Any other questions? I have one.
Yes.
Under number 16 is just signatures. I'm just clarification. I think it's city bank accounts shall have listed as signers the treasurer and finance director / accountant. the clerk shall be listed as third. So is the treasurer and finance director one person, and the accountant's a second person?
The finance director / accountant, at one time, the city had a city accountant, and I have hired a finance director because they took on some more responsibilities. If there was ever a time that we hired an accountant, I hope never, I hope Lynette's with us forever, but if the fact that we ever hired somebody and they weren't a finance director and we hired an accountant, it allows that person to act as such. Back to the city accountant way. And
Okay,
the terms are important.
I kind of thought, okay, so treasurer can sign, accountant / finance director can sign, clerk can sign.
Mm-hmm. Good questions.
Any other questions? Call the roll, please.
Cutler,
Yes.
Kufa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Folds,
Yes.
Westrick,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes,
Motion carries. Thank you.
thank you.
Yep, thank you for that.
B is earned sick time policy, Mr. Bishop.
I'd like to talk a little bit about Michigan's Earned Sick Time Act. This is in federal and state regulation. Essentially, what this means, this is an employer-friendly legislation that is going to allow for the first time in Michigan for those with temporary and seasonal status to earn PTO sick time. Essentially, how this affects the city the most, other than the increased minimum wage, what's going to happen is for every 30 hours worked, there'll be 1 hour of sick time earned on an accruing basis. That's the gist of how it's going to affect us the most. On the finance side, it will be because of minimum wage increases, so we'll have to be monitoring our budgets. We had a fantastic team meeting this afternoon. We went over this. We've been studying this in detail, and as we wrapped up the meeting, we were fortunate enough to have Representative Jada Boyer jump on the line with us in our team meeting, and he gave us an update that this Friday they anticipate changes to the Michigan's Earned Sick Time Act, and so just to kind of hold tight. As we adopt these types of policies, we would like to add language, and it simply is this. Do we have a write-up of that language?
Yes,
Sorry for my, where are we at right here?
we're here.
Okay. What we'd like to add is that with approval, that we will remain in compliance with legislation changes that may occur. This is at the recommendation of Representative DeBoyer saying that go ahead, get your ship in order right now, get everything that you need, but anticipate that by Friday there may be some changes. So if you want to go ahead and you just want to jump on board and you want to get the earned sick time policy on the book, go ahead and do that, but you need to leave some room within the legislation to change, or in our resolution to change, because he's feeling it's going to change sometime on Friday.
Yeah, so my question with that is, within compliance with state as a minimum, not necessarily as, if we're exceeding it in any way, we're creating, additional cost on the city, not knowing what it's going to be. So knowing that this is going to be hitting here very soon, to me, it makes more sense to wait and see what comes and adopt policy accordingly within that time period, instead of adopting something or pushing something forward that may not be, it could be exceeding or changing and altering. So just being within compliance does not define what the requirement is going to be.
We have nothing on the books as of right, a good point. We have nothing on the books right now that authorizes the city to do that and act in this new earned sick time. This will take effect on Friday, February 21st. If session is canceled in Lansing, if they get to no decision, it's still going to take effect, and we're going to have to roll into it. And so then we're changing systems regardless, because we have to start accruing it regardless and start giving credit to those employees. So Jay's ultimate advice was, go ahead and set the stage for what's going to work for your system, but just know that you may be having to change some things. That looks like accruals or what type of employee classification is going to receive the accruals. So
Right.
we're kind of in limbo, but it's going to take effect the 21st.
Correct. So what are we looking at today? Are we looking to make a motion to adopt something, or we're just setting the stage for conversation for the next meeting, being able to adopt something, knowing what that verbiage is? Because if seasonal has changed, part-time has changed, all these other things, and we put something forward that we're tracking 100% of employees on seasonal, and the requirement is not that, we're incurring a lot of work for being 1 week ahead of something instead of knowing what we're doing.
It's a good point. It's a good point. That's a reality that may happen, right? So I guess it comes down to, the will of the board here, or the council, and to say, are we going to adopt this now and then make changes, or would you like to table, hold, wait, and then see what happens after Friday? I mean, that's
I'd like to make
that's
a
where we're
motion to
at.
table
I'll
until
support
the
that.
next meeting.
May I add something before we vote, please? So this law goes into effect Friday in some form, and there were several decisions the city had to make on what that policy will look like. Our policy in front of you is the bare minimum of what to do. There's no payouts, there's no extensions, there is no probationary period. It is the bare bones policy. But there were several things that we had to decide before it starts. So to get ahead of the game, this policy is before you. If something changes, we expect the only thing to change would be to exempt seasonal employees, which would be in the city's favor. And then we can come back to council and you can consider changes to the policy at
Yeah,
that time.
part-time policies may also change. You know,
There are no changes to part-time or full-time.
we don't know that yet.
Our current policies are more than this earned sick time already. So
So then, again, I ask, what is the urgency? Like, it's going to be retroactive no matter what, February 21st. So 1 week of understanding exactly what we're doing instead of pushing something ahead where we know the chances of some adjustment is coming. I don't understand why we're getting a week ahead.
well, if there's no adjustment coming, then you still would need to adopt the policy. So to
And
have something
we
in
could
place
do that.
now, then there's no further action needed.
Or we can do that the following week as well,
2 weeks, right?
which,
If we adopted it in 2 weeks, would it become retroactive as of Friday?
absolutely.
Yes, it has to occur by February 21st. That's when the accruals will start.
Yes.
So the motion was made to
Table.
table. Was that supported?
That was by me.
All right, motion is made and supported to table questions.
Is that Councilmember Paul and Councilmember Kufa?
Yes. Let's call the roll on that, please.
Kufa?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Folds?
Yes.
Westrick?
Yes.
Gottler?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank
All
you.
right. Special event permit, St. Clair High School class of 2025 car cruise.
Yes, on behalf of Chief Raker, in front of you is a special event permit application from St. Clair High School PTO for their annual senior cruise and fire truck rides. This will occur on Sunday, May 18th. The cruise will leave the parking lot of the high school at 4 o'clock. All of the paperwork and necessary documents have been received. Recommendation to approve.
So moved.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 9 is claims and accounts for February 5, 6, 12, 2025.
Hearing no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Anybody's questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 10 is public comment. Anybody have anything tonight? Go to number 11. I have, I think, just one thing. I want to congratulate member Westrick. His daughter Abby is a sophomore. Card Mooney, she's named Times Herald Athlete of the Week,
Hey.
basketball player.
Hey. All right. Congratulations.
I know you didn't teach her basketball.
Wasn't me.
Well, good, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. He's a sophomore? He's. Anybody else has anything? Anything going on I forget about?
Nope.
Okay, then,
Hearing nothing else, Your Honor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have a good night, everyone.